Yes, people, what's going on? What's going on? Welcome back to the channel, people. As always, make sure that you're subscribing to the channel. Make sure that you're liking the video as you walk in. Couple new faces here today. Well, actually, new face today. We've got ads on the channel. I think it's your debut today, bro, isn't it? Is ads there?
Bro,
yeah, his connection's moving crazy, bro. But we've got man like Jams back on the channel, people. What are you saying, Jams? You good?
Yeah, man's all good.
Big up, man. Big up. What are you saying, Couch, man? Couch couldn't make Blue Diaries on Tuesday, but the people were fiending for him. You know what I'm saying? They're fiending for him. So I said, you know what? Let's get him on Thursday. But Couch, what are you saying, my bro? You good?
Yeah, man. This here, man. Just enjoying my coffee. Just drop off the youth. Ready to talk some Chels.
100, man. 100. And Goonie, what are you saying, my bro?
Yeah, man. New settings right about now. I'm away from home, but it's always good to talk Chelsea, bruv. You already know this, man. Big up everybody that's here. Also, everybody that's watching the video, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to my guy Don, and every single one of the creators that's on this platform right now that's speaking, subscribe to all of them. You get me?
100%, man. And we've got 21 people in the house. Let's go through the chat. Let's see who's in here. You got Chelsea boy 1, 2, 3, 4. Big up, my bro. You got Will in here as well. It says, yes, Don, big up, my bro. Big up yourself, my G, man. You got Larry in here as well. It says, Miss Couch on Diaries. Nice to see him back. It is nice to see him back. You know what I'm saying? I told you, Couch, man. Don't missing you, bro. You know what I mean? You got Marlo as well. CFC Marlo, yo, big up. Finally able to catch one of these live. Yeah, finally, man. Thursday, I'm going to try and put something together on a weekly basis, but sometimes it's not always possible with people's schedules. But yeah, there'll be a lot more content on Thursdays, people. But listen, we're going to chop it up today about the defense mainly, man, because this is a narrative which is really grinding my gears at the moment. You know what I mean? The way I'm hearing so many people talking about how bad our defense is. And for me, our defense can definitely improve. You know, I've seen better defenses at Chelsea with Carvalho, with Terry, with, you know, Cahill, all of these, you know, solid guys, Ivanovic, Spilicueta, right? So we know the defense right now isn't at that level. But for me, our defense is not as bad as what people make it out to be. You know what I'm saying? If you go check statistically right now, we've actually got the third best defensive record in the league right now. I think it's joint third with like 4 other teams, right? And that's not to ignore the deficiencies in the defense. It's just to make the point that I'm making around how, you know, our defense is not as bad as what people make it out to be, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But Ads, what do you think, bro, about our defense at the minute? Do you think it's a defense that is bad as people make out, would you say?
Yeah, hopefully you can hear me clear because I've got a slight delay on my thing right now. But overall, the defense is definitely the weakest part of our team, I would say. But as bad as people are saying, no, not necessarily. I think it's definitely improved from last season where we did have a lot of clear deficiencies. But guys like Colwill have stepped up and have been pretty decent outside of some big games. I think Fofana was having a really good comeback season. Again, given that he was off for a long time with that injury, he was having a really good season to his recent injury. And then Tosin stepped up in the last game. So listen, it's not that bad. And I think if you look at the Brentford game as an example, right? Even though you could say that there was a bit of a mistake from both centre backs that led to the goal, other than that, they really did a great job against Brentford, who were, I think, the third highest scorers in the league. Like, they snuffed them out completely. We defended so great high up the pitch. Didn't have to do too many defensive actions in and around our box. So I've been quite impressed with our defense so far this season. Now, whether it's enough to get us towards, you know, the later stages of the season and potentially win the league, that's another conversation. But for now, I've been impressed. I've been very impressed.
100%, brother. And Jams, what would you say is the main thing for you that you've been impressed with Chelsea's defense so far, bro? Because last season we were seeing us being run through every single week. You know what I'm saying? We had no midfield. It was like a polo in the midfield, bro. Bare space in there. Gallagher, Caicedo, Enzo, zero chemistry in the midfield. What's been the main thing that you've kind of been impressed with our defense this season, bro?
I think with defensively, it's not even just the defense by themselves as a unit. I think it's the whole team. Like, kind of like how we press as a team out of possession whenever we lose the ball, the counter press, all them things there. And also as well, you see, like, whenever we're pressing, the centre-backs are always stepping up high to the halfway line and they're aggressive. They either, if they're not winning the foul, if they're not winning the tackle, then they're giving away the foul instead of, you know, getting turned over. So I think that's like a big thing as to why, like, our defense is better this year.
100%, bro. And I'm glad that you said that because I want to share something with you guys about our defense and how we're limiting the opponents that we're facing at the minute, Couch. So if you see here, you can see that Chelsea are actually limiting opponents' counter-attacks with only 2.1 direct attacks conceded per game. The best rate in the top flight, bro. You know what I mean? What do you put that down to, Couch?
Well, first off, I think it's just organization. We look a lot more organized. We have people in areas that are basically compensating for the spaces that are left when we're aggressively pressing. I remember I want to say it was the Villa game where we saw Caicedo first invert and he was pressing high. You saw Lavia drop back into the right back area there just to compensate for that particular flank. And I think that Maresca's just done a good job of organizing the team. You know, he's done a really good job of like making sure that the safety valves are in place and we're not as exposed, right? Like it's one thing to press and press effectively, but it's another thing to, you know, mitigate the danger when the press gets broken through. And I think he's done a good job of that, slowing down the transition. There's a little bit more, for lack of a better term, I'd say like friction in the midfield with Lavia in there, Caicedo, you know, so teams aren't necessarily just like bombing through us anymore. It's basically they have to negotiate, work their way through what we're doing defensively before they can get into that final third. And I think that's helped a lot.
100%, bro, 100%. And I'm glad that you said that because a major thing for us right now, Goonie, is how we are counter pressing, bro. So if I show you guys a few examples of just some of our counter pressing this season. So you can see here, this is a game against Leicester. You can see the shape of the ball. You know, you've got Jackson there, Cole Palmer there. You've got João Felix here. You've got Enzo Fernandez there. If I show you guys again, you know, you've got another example here. This was against, let's see what team. This is against Brentford. You can see again, man-to-man pressing, bro. You've got Sancho here. You've got Cucurella here. You've got Gusto here. You've got Colwill. That's quite high, like Jam said before. You've got Caicedo, who won the most balls in the opposition half for any Premier League player this season, last game. I think it was five times he won the ball in the opposition half. You know what I'm saying? You've got another example here, Goody. This was against, let's see who we've got here, bruv, because I've got a couple examples here. Yeah? This is against Aston Villa. Yeah? You can see how we're boxing them in from the front. We're not allowing teams to play out at the minute. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, that's helping us not concede and not be run through anymore. Do you know what I'm saying, Goody?
No, 100%. And that there, everything you just mentioned just goes to show how well Maresca was able to, you know, translate his ideas to the rest of the squad. And they're buying into it. Because you see, once something works, you buy into it. That's naturally what it is. I know it's stated the obvious, but that's clearly what's just happened here. And like I said, testament to the manager. We've also got players that are able to perform and do those roles. And I think, you know, the two names that you mentioned there that are crucial to it, I know they're not part of the, you know, the defensive line is Lavia and Caicedo. I feel they do an excellent job in helping their in the defense, helping the centre backs, you know, because especially with Lavia, because although, listen, he has lost the ball a couple times that have cost goals, but who doesn't in that position? Every top player has lost the ball there. But with him, he's very press resistant. That's what I love about him. Because if you remember when we had like Jorginho and those guys, they would constantly lose the ball because their press resistance wasn't there. Their ability to turn as quickly wasn't there. Lavia's got all of those things. Those qualities definitely help. In terms of that back line, the only thing that I will say with that, and this is the thing, it's fixable. It will come through time. Is maturity, because what lets them down for me is not necessarily ability. Like especially when it's Colwill and Fofana as the pairing, it's not their ability that lets them down. It's the concentration. It's the lapses in concentration that let them down, which is why we concede silly goals at times. You know, the goals that we concede is like, bro, why did we concede that? Lapse in concentration. But guess what? These are still young men. They're still coming into maturity. These are things that you will end up developing during time. You know what I'm saying? You can't cheat time away. Some people develop quicker than others. But look, when I was, 21, 22, 23, my mind wasn't exactly in the correct space all the time. Do you know what I mean? It's part of being young. That's what it is. So, like, with that, I've got faith that they'll be able to build on that. I have been critical, but it's mainly only been a maturity issue and just lapses in concentration. That's my only complaint about that defense.
Yeah.
And then obviously you've got Robert Sanchez. I'm still on the side of we got to sell this guy. I don't fully trust him. I don't fully trust the goalkeeper, although he has had moments where he has, let's be fair, he's put points on the board for us, or he's kept points on the board for us. But like perhaps we could have left with 1 point, and he's made the save that's allowed us to leave with 3. You know what I'm
Bro, I
saying?
can
So
think
he's
of a
done
few
it a couple
examples, bro.
times.
Bournemouth, it
Yeah.
helped us win that game. Forest, it helped us get a draw in that game. Against Aston Villa, he was very good. The other day, he was very good. So you have to be fair, bro. As much as I don't like him, as much as I want him gone,
It's not a 24. You see,
fight.
it's not. You see, it's not a 24/7 hating thing. It's not an agenda. You got to call good stuff there when it's good. You know what I mean? And Sanchez has performed at times, but for me, it's the consistency that's the problem, and it's the trust that's the issue. Because you see, if your defense don't trust the goalkeeper, that's another thing. That's another thing as well. Sometimes they play overcautious. Sometimes, So that's got to be fixed too.
100%, bro. Before we dive into Sanchez a little bit more, people, Jams, let's talk about Colwill, right? Because this is an updated metric here from Data MB. We were very accurate when it comes to these sort of things, because at the minute they've got Caicedo as the highest performing midfielder, and when you're watching him, you can clearly see why he's up there. And at the minute they've got Colwill as the second best performing centre back in the league, bro. You know, the only person that's ahead of him right now is Big Van Dijk. You know, you've got Van Heck, you've got Pau Torres, you've got Saliba, you've got Konate. So you can see that these are some top centre backs right now. And Colwill, right now, statistically, is outperforming a lot of them, bro. What have you thought about him so far this season, bro?
I think he's been good. I think there's been a few moments where he's been a little shaky. Like for example, the Liverpool game. What other game as well was it? It was another Big Six game, the City game as well. Like very shaky at times, but I think overall he's been good, man. And that game against Brentford, no one talks about it enough, but you see that chance, I think it was Carvalho, where he hit the crossbar. Cole had a little touch on that. If he didn't get that touch, Carvalho probably scores that. And then I think
even in the first half, brother, the first half he made that block, remember?
The block as well. Yeah. I think
also
a lot
late in the second half too. There was a clearance, a header that he cleared away too. That was important off a corner.
Yeah. So
and the other week as well. Remember the other week as well, where I think someone went round Sanchez and he was there just to clear it. Was it Aston Villa we played when he did that?
When he cleared off the line.
Yeah. He kind of cleared it off the line. There's been so many blocks that he's made in the box as well, Jams. I can think of Wolves. Remember that first half against Wolves? Line, goal-saving clearances, bro, and blocks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But go carry on, Jams. Carry on.
No, yeah, it's just for me, Colwill, he doesn't get enough respect based on what he's done this season. I think a lot of the stuff that he's done this season kind of goes under the radar. And then when he does a mistake, that's like what everyone's talking about. But for me, I think he's been good. And for our build-up as well, he's so important too. So the fact that he's so good on the ball, but also defensively, he's doing his thing as well, he definitely deserves more praise than what he's getting.
100%, bro. And I'm glad that you mentioned about how important he is in the build-up. Because when I'm speaking to these Arsenal boys and I'm watching how they play and I'm looking at their centre-backs, I rate Gabriel and Saliba as. I'm telling you, bro, it's good to watch other teams because you can see what your team's doing. Yeah.
Yo, sorry, bro. Before we move on to the attacking contribution, there's just two more things I've got to say, yeah?
Go on, bro.
You see with Levi Colwill, why I won't lose faith in this guy, is you see the positioning and the last minute sniffing of danger. For his age, it's way beyond his years, bro. And I'm not saying he's as good or potentially going to be as good, but that's an aspect that reminds me of John Terry. If you remember him, he always used to sense the danger for that last minute shot that should be a goal. He's putting his head in front of it. He's doing whatever. Colwill gives me the same vibes, bro. He definitely does. In terms of style of play, I'm not saying he's as good, but in terms of styles, that's another thing about it. So sorry, I had to add that in.
Facts. It's true, man. It's true because honestly, last season we were so bad in the box, Goody. I used to tell these man all the time in the group chats. In the box, it's like we couldn't defend, right? And a big reason why we've improved now in the box, and if you go check as well, we haven't conceded any goals from corners yet, which is crazy. Because last season, remember they used to be like penalties, bro. Every corner used to go in like a penalty against Chelsea. Yeah. Now we haven't conceded a single one, right? A big reason why is because of Colwill, bro. Yeah, he's been very good in the box. Like you said, the blocks, the interceptions, the reading of his game. He can improve
too, man.
Mentality, couch. You know what I'm saying? Like the amount of times I see man grabbing him when he's done something because he's making vital blocks in the box. You know what I mean? Go on, couch. If you wanted to add anything else on that as well, bro.
No, I was just gonna say the physicality too. He doesn't shy down from the contact, right? Like he's there. He's there for the battles, man. So I mean, when you talk about like partnerships, like our center backs, I think that the most important thing is the partnership, right? And the reason why I was like feeling what we are getting from Cole was because he was still just developing that partnership with Fofana. The two of them were just really just starting to understand each other. So when people say we don't have a good defense and whatnot, I'm like, they haven't even really played together yet to formulate that partnership yet. So it takes time for that to really develop. It takes time for that to really mature. And even with that said, they're both very young center backs. So I'm not here for this whole our defender. We need new defenders. What we need is to have those two guys play enough games together to understand each other's tendencies. Once you get that, you're good.
100%. Chemistry is a big thing, man. And Ads, what do you think of this comment here from Robert as well? Big up Robert. He's a guy that's always on to Colwill, right? He says Colwill can't hold our offside line. He consistently plays opposition onside. Do you agree with him?
Not at all. No. I think if he's talking about the Mbeumo goal, listen, you have to credit that was a perfectly timed through ball, and Mbeumo's got the jets. Like not many centre backs are catching him in it, and maybe that's one criticism you can make of our back line is that we haven't got a lot of pace in the CB area. Fofana's got a little bit of pace, but not what he had when he was at Leicester, given the injury. Colwill decent enough, and obviously the likes of Tosin, Baddy, Desati, they're not great athletes, but in terms of Colwill holding the line, he's been fine. And there's been situations where we've been holding the line like on the edge of our box, which is like sort of the Pellegrini line, right? Like that's the thing that we've been actually doing. So I wouldn't accuse him or anybody of that. That's a tactic from the manager that we've been doing. So ultimately, I've been very impressed, like I said, with Colwill. Other than a few big games, which again, that's when rivals are going to clamp onto things and say, oh, he was bad against Liverpool or he made a mistake against City. That's a thing that he needs to improve at. Again, when you see that list of names, he's 21 years of age, younger than everybody else there. So while I felt like going into the season, he could have definitely benefited from playing alongside a more established centre-back to be the leader, he stepped up. He's been the most vocal one of the back line. He's been trying to be the leader and he's doing a great job. And as for this season, he's doing well. And just imagine how good he's going to be in 2, 3, 4 years' time when he's entering his prime. Like, he's going to be a whole nother level.
100%, bro. 100%, man. What I want to see from Colwill going forward, I need to see more goals, man, on set pieces, bro. Yeah, get your head onto something, man. That's what I want to see him. I want to see him add that to his game because John Terry had that in abundance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying his is a similar sort of profile to Terry, like what Goonie's saying. Like, Terry wasn't blessed with the most pace and whatnot, but he used to read the game very well.
His
right?
positioning was second to none.
Second to none.
But I felt also that he was at his best with Carvalho next to him as well. So just going back to what my man was saying, like about balance, that's crucial, 100%.
100%, bro, 100%. And just to go back to what Jams was saying as well, earlier about what is offered us offensively, right? I've been speaking to a lot of Arsenal fans about this in terms of how they build up from the back. Yes, we know Saliba and Gabriel are very good defensively, but offensively, bro, like away from the set pieces and the corners, I don't see them breaking enough lines, bro. The way Colwill does, right? The way even Tosin does, because Tosin's very good with his ball playing, right? We haven't scored the most goals in the league by mistake, and it all starts from the back, right? Colwill gets the ball a lot of the times, and you just see him just punch it in. You know, people, I love to say punch it in because I love players that know how to punch in the ball and fizz it in. Because what that allows, it allows you to straight away, you take away the midfield from the opposition and you're through on goal, bro. Yeah. 3 or 4 people are running on goal, right? And he's helped us with so many goals this season from playing out from the back. When you're watching him at the bridge as well on that small pitch, when you see him just ping it, it's crazy, Jams. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, right? What do you think has been able to sort of offer us offensively and going forward, man?
That question for me,
Yeah.
So with his ball playing, it's mad because you look at a lot of our goals, and if you really look at how it started, a lot of the time it's Colwill punching it into one of the midfielders or breaking the lines to an attacker or something like that. So the whole Colwill being able to, play these line breaking passes is why we create so many chances and the system's so fluid. I think that's one of the big reasons why Arsenal look so still right now. They ain't really got no one at the back that can punch it between the lines the way, Colwill does for us, even Tosin for us as well, Badiashile. We got like the proper players for, Maresca's system.
Yep.
100%. Go on, Ads, if you wanted to add to that as well, bro.
No, I'm just looking at our the style, the profiles of our centre backs. They're all pretty much good at playing out the back. You look at even like a Fofana, like he's actually probably the best at carrying the ball out and driving into midfield and taking out players just through dribbling. So it's levels above what Arsenal got, because again, Saliba can do it a little bit, but you just see that the shackles are on these guys in terms of trying to play out the back. They don't really do anything too expansive, and it's all quite stiff, which is why lately they're just set piece FC. I mean, people say it as a joke, but literally all they've been doing is scoring from set pieces in the Premier League. So no, absolutely, I'm very happy with what we've been doing, and it's night and day from last season when a certain manager had him playing left back. Like, come on, putting Colwill left back was crazy.
Bro. That is spot on, Goonie, yeah, because one thing I was speaking about, because again, these guys, these rivals love to talk about Colwill as if he's shit. And I'm like, bro, like, we know he's not good in the wide areas. But this season, we're not seeing him getting cooked much because Maresca is showing more of his strengths than his weaknesses, because we're seeing him play more as the central centre-back, right? When you see him play wide last season, left-back, you're going to see more of his weaknesses because he's not a left-back, bro. He's not quick.
He's not,
you know what I'm saying?
He ain't got the pace.
Yeah. So you gotta give props there to Maresca because he's actually showing us more of his strengths. You know what I'm saying, by playing him centrally, Goonie. You know what I mean?
And I think indirectly as well, you've just highlighted just how good Cucurella's been this season. Because obviously that's his natural position, but over the past few seasons, there's been many doubts about Cucurella. I mean, from what we hear last season, last summer, he was very close to going to Manchester United. He potentially might not have been a Chelsea player, but we saw his performances in the internationals, and everyone was questioning, like, why do we not see this at club level for Chelsea? And Maresca's shown that he can get it out of him, and Cucurella's been fantastic there. Obviously, that's helped Colwill. It's just really the obvious, isn't it? Like, you just got to play players in their positions. Like, it's not really rocket science, man. That's where you're going to get the best out of them.
100%. And you can see here as well, people. So this is Premier League centre-backs, progressive passes, yeah? You've got Colwill, number 1, as I expected. You've got Anderson, number 2, Gahey, number 3, Romero, number 4, Senesi from Bournemouth, number 5. I think that's someone that will link to.
But Colwill's always been clear with his passing. I mean, the stats were probably similar at Brighton when he was there. They loved him over there. And you even saw like how crucial he was to their counter-attacks and forward play as well. Like, he's always 100%. Been that guy.
100%. And what I'm saying about these Arsenal centre-backs as well, people, it's not cap, because you can see my eyes aren't lying to me. None of them are here, bro. When it comes to progressive passes, not Gabriel, not Saliba. They're not here, bro, because they don't progress the ball much. I'm telling you, when you watch them, they like to go around their midfield, or they'll just tap it a little bit to the guy in front of them. They don't progress the ball much from the back. And that's why they're quite stale. It starts from the back. You know what I mean? But just going on to Tosin as well, man, the other day, because I thought he was very solid, man. And I feel like in the fan base, Goonie, Couch, even there's this thing about not being able to. I feel like people don't really praise Tosin much, even when he has a good game, right? I know he had a bad game against Liverpool, but when he has a good game, I don't really hear many people talking about it, right?
Listen,
the other day, I thought he was solid.
I don't want to hear, like, I want my defenders to work quietly. I don't want to necessarily be loud, eventful defending, right? Like, he was very solid. Like, I'm not as big a supporter, to be honest, but he was very solid the last game, just aerially dominant, punching the ball in the midfield, dominant. He was great. Like, but to be honest with you, I don't like when center backs get praise, because it means that they have to put in a lot of defensive action. So I would rather them just be quiet and like no event, and just keep it simple. So, when you say people don't give him praise, that could be a compliment, because it just means that he's quietly going about his work, So
I hear him getting cooked more is my point. That's what I'm saying. The point I'm making is I hear him getting cooked more than getting praise, bro.
Well, I think what it comes down to is, again, a lot of people have this ability to just polarize, right? So at the beginning of the year, after the West Ham game, everyone was like, "Oh, Tosin's the guy. Tosin's the guy." And there's still people in the Fofana camp that are like, "No, it's Fofana," And then when Fofana comes back into the form, you just get this like one side, next side kind of thing going on, right? And with Tosin, I don't know. He hasn't really played a lot in the first team. He's had a couple starts here and there, so it's hard to say that he's not getting praise. Like, he's been playing mainly in the Conference League game, so you're not really getting the opportunities to seek praise from the fan base. I mean, the last game in particular against Brentford, he came in and played well. And I thought that he was close to my man of the match, to be honest. Obviously, you can't deny Caicedo. Like, obviously, he was clear. But in terms of like what he was doing defensively, like everything that we had that came into our box that was dangerous, he dealt with it. So, and I think we mentioned it in the chat. I was like, yeah, man, like Disasi, Tosin was having a fantastic game, so if he continues on that path, like, just being, playing event-free, like football, like not being on the ball, giving it away, not recognizing when there's danger, being switched on and all that, we're fine. But as a depth defender, I think he's good.
I agree, man. And listen, we've got 164 people in the house. Make sure that you lot are smashing up the likes. Let me see how many likes we've got. We've got 44 likes, people. Let's get to 100 quickly, man. The next 3 minutes, people. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that you're smashing the likes as you come in. But listen, there's a player, Cucurella, who's been on a massive redemption right now. I remember before, bro, me and you used to have a lot of conversations about him. You used to cook him a lot. And I used to defend this guy a lot. Yeah, I used to defend this guy a lot because I loved watching him at Brighton, right? I was so jealous. I keep saying I was so jealous when I saw him about to go to Man City because he was absolutely cooking the season before he left Brighton, right? I think he was player their season. I keep telling you guys, he created more chances than Chilwell and Reece. And we know how vital they were for us in terms of creativity, right? He was cooking, bro, but there were so many things off the field. He came into that team that were on the verge of wanting to leave. So many players didn't want to be there. Graham Potter, it was a mess. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What have you thought about Cucurella this season, man? And what do you think? Where do you think he can sort of reach in terms of his levels at Chelsea? Because personally, I'm looking at him as a potential Aspilicueta sort of player in the future, bro. I can't lie.
No, I think the ceiling is there for that. I think the redemption arc's been amazing. Again, coming from obviously winning the Euros of Spain, that's a huge boost of confidence that he got. But even how he ended the season with us, he ended the season in great form. Poch finally inverted him, where you saw sort of the best of his attributes in that role. And he ended up being, having a very good end to the season. And listen, he came into a team that had a lot of turmoil in terms of the whole environment around the team, a lot of signings, issues with the hierarchy, everything, right? And then he even had a lot of personal turmoil in terms of the tonsillitis that he had, which I think he lost 5 kg from. His house got burgled. And obviously a bit of poor form, and then the fans were on his back. Remember West Ham away, he was getting booed by the fans when he got subbed off, and I thought, damn, like we don't boo many players like that. And he was getting it severely, so it was crazy. So I can understand why his form dropped. And at that time, I wasn't happy with him at all. Don't get me, I was not happy with him. And it's mad because he was actually one of the players that we signed that I was really excited for. Yeah, we kind of overspent in my opinion, but I was excited when we signed him. I was more excited than when we signed Aubameyang and Sterling in that summer. I think it was them 3 that came in, and Koulibaly. So like he was the one that was actually had a lot of optimism for, but then it started off not great. Even the start of last season, it wasn't good either. But again, thankfully he's been able to turn it around and prove that he is certainly more suited to how we want to play than a Chilwell is. And he's just gone strength to strength, and he's showing that even when he's had to play out wide in terms of like a left mid position on the ball, he's excelled well. He's gotten assists, he's created chances, he's been doing good, he's been crossing a lot better this season as well. So it's been great. And in terms of if he can be an Aspilicueta for us, I mean that's lofty status, bro. That's lofty status. But maybe, listen, he's one of the more experienced guys in this team. He's won trophies, he's won big things. So I think he can certainly cement this position in this team and become an integral player for us.
100%, man. And what I love about the guy, he's just everywhere, Jams. You know what I'm saying? You just see him intercepting. Like I said, this counter pressing, it suits him well because he's a pest. And defensively, for me as well, Jams, I actually think he's improved defensively, right? Because one thing I've always said about him, Jams, is the thing about Cucurella, he can get a little bit too tight at times, and it means he's a little bit too flat-footed, so he gets spun a lot of times by wingers, right? If you remember last season against Anthony, he was getting spun, bro. Yeah, Salah was spinning him. I remember when we went to Anfield, that Mudrik's debut, absolutely is frying the guy, bro. You can see his afro flying everywhere, right? But now he just seems a little bit more stable defensively. He just seems more switched on, if that makes sense. Have you seen a difference in his defending, bro?
Yeah, I think before he used to be a bit over aggressive. He used to commit himself too much. I think now that's calmed down a little bit. I do think as well the system helps though too. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, I think.
How does it help? How does it help? Expand on that, bro.
I don't really know. It's just like because he's such an aggressive guy, especially in the press. I feel like it helps him a lot that we use a system that is, man-to-man counter pressing, stuff like that. So he's getting covered if he's going to press. Where before last year under Poch, if you go flying out of your position, you don't have the rest of the team counter pressing with you. So it's kind of like you just gone AWOL and just left your space like unmarked. But now with the system we have now, it's like, all right, cool, you got cover because the rest of the team is pressing as well.
100%,
Can I
man.
just add to that point quickly? Because that's actually a great point from Jans, because you remember in pre-season when everybody was complaining about how high our line was and all these things, right? Like that's because Maresca's tactics, he wants us to push up the field and make the pitch small, condense the pitch. And that allows people like Cucurella, like your Casedos to counter press and actually win the ball high up. So yeah, it was kind of shaky at the start of the season and in pre-season, but now we've actually patterned the system. No way, you see people like Caicedo, like Cucurella excel. So no, it's a great point.
100%, man, 100%. And what I like as well, Goonie, now is it seems like Maresca's kind of dropped that experiment of playing Gusto in between the lines, you know, playing as one of the 8s, one of the 10s, because we know, bro, every time the ball kept dropping to him, Goonie, fucking grenade football, bruv. Yeah, the ball just goes far, yeah, and it's crossing. It needs to improve. You know what I mean? What have you thought about Gusto since he's been sort of taken away from, you know, kind of filling in that hole, and it's been more Cucurella now that's been kind of going in between the lines there, bro?
I think it's taken a bit of pressure off Gusto, although we do see him creeping forward at times. I like Gusto, but we need to start seeing at some point his decisions in the final third and perhaps executions as well being a little bit more on point, because you know it does, let's have it right, it does break down attacks when you're continually having something like someone doing that. But look, another young player, somebody that can develop that in his game, you know. So let's see. But it's again down to Maresca hiding his weaknesses and trying more to you know emphasize on his strengths, and that's what he's done with the players in this squad. I mean, it can't always be done because sometimes you get injuries and you have to fill in and deputize in places that you're not necessarily too comfortable playing in or don't have the most experience playing in. And that certainly happened for Gusto because of, you know, Reece James injuries and, you know, Cucurella injuries, so on and so forth. He's had to deputize in those positions. So, you know, with all those things considered, I think Malo Gusto's done all right. Again, just my only thing is the execution of the final balls. Because look, the promising thing is that the vision is there. He sees the correct ball. More times out of 10, he sees it. It's just the execution and making sure that, you know, he's either adding an assist or he's putting the ball in the back of the net. That's all he needs. That's all he needs, and he can develop that.
100%, man. And you can see here, people, Gusto registered more successful final third passes and registered more successful passes in total than any other player for Chelsea or Brentford. And again, he's very key in what we do in terms of our counter press, bro, because defensively, I've never had a problem with Gusto. Like, he has a few.
That's the thing. That's actually funny that he says that, because based on what I'm saying, like a lot of people, if you're not watching Gusto, you'd think, well, it's a massive contradiction to what Goonie's saying, but he could. But what I'm saying is he could add to those numbers. 100%. He could be adding way more to those numbers. It's just that final ball, like I said, you guys know what I'm talking about anyway.
Yeah, no, 100, bro. I say all the time, and he breaks down attacks too much. You know, sometimes he'll try to give the through ball to Madueke. It's a little bit loose or it's a little bit heavy. His crossing needs to improve massively, bro. Massively. That's one thing I noticed about him last season. His crossing wasn't great. It improved because he actually got, I think he got 8 assists last season, right? All comps, I believe, right? But yeah, even the other day against Brentford, his crossing, man, just wasn't good enough. You know what I mean? So he needs to watch Reece. I know Reece naturally, he's more of a whippers, but ask him questions, bro. How do you sort of cross it in terms of timing, weight of pass, all of these things? He needs to be coached a little bit better in that aspect, man. But for me, Couch, I think he's actually, you know, looked more like himself. Like when he came on against Spurs, I thought he was very good. He was staying back a little bit more. And the other day as well, he was adding an extra body in the attack. And defensively, I thought he was very good against Brentford as well, bro.
Yeah, no, defensively is his strength as far as I'm concerned. He's a guy that's good in counter press sequences, gets touch tight to his man, and usually wins the duel. I think Goonie hit it right on the head. Like Maresca's just basically found a way to mitigate his weaknesses and exalt his strengths. Like, he's not good in the final third. I as much as he can improve there, he's just not shown that he can play in those half spaces very well. And, you know, we've been talking about this for months now. When they started inverting him in the midfield, I just didn't like him in that number 10, you know, in that half space there, because he doesn't have that final ball, and he wasn't very good at recognizing when to play it, right? So there's all sorts of things that were happening there. But in the more reserve role, I don't know if he's the guy that I want if we're playing with a back three in attacking sequences. I'm not sure if I want him in that position as one of the 3 center backs. But
Why not?
I don't know
Why
if you
not?
guys noticed it as well. Like there were times where he would, like, again, we'd be very aggressive, especially against Brentford, where he would be basically playing as a right back, a right wing back, sort of. And then Caicedo would drop into the back, and it would be Caicedo in the middle of the two center backs. So it'd be like we're attacking with 7 and defending with 3. But the third one, like Caicedo, would be make up the back 3, and I think that's the best role for him, more so than being the in the back line with the 2 other center backs. But overall, yeah, he's basically more of a defensive stalwart for me than he is offensive dynamo. But you know, like as long as he improves in those areas, like offensively, getting into the final third, picking up the final ball, I think we have a gem on our hands. He's young still too. Let's keep that in mind.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And like I said, there's certain things that just come naturally to people. Like I said, with Reece, he's always had the whips. You know, that's just natural ability. Gusto, unfortunately for him, he just hasn't got it in his game, but he can definitely improve his crossing, bro. 110%. It might not be as good as Reece, but he can just improve his technique, how he's kicking the ball, when he's kicking the ball. You know what I'm saying? Who he's aiming for in the box. All these little things, bro. Right? And adds, just on this as well, big up Viande, he says, the problem is us at this point. Why do we expect defenders to be good in the final third? What have you got to say to that, Ads?
I mean, we grew up in an era where we were talking about attacking fullbacks. I mean, the likes of Reece James, Trent, Cancelo, like it's part of this football now that fullbacks need to be offering something in the final third. So that's normal. That's normal. But actually, I wanted to touch on a point that Couch has made actually about Gusto's best position, and I do agree that he's best as like an attacking fullback, offering the width. And I think we saw him best doing that last season when it was him on the right wing, but it wasn't Madueke that was the right winger, it was Palmer. And obviously we know Palmer on the right wing likes to cut inside, so that leaves that overlapping channel for Gusto to go and do that job. But in this system now where it's either Madueke or a Neto starting there, it's a bit different. And I feel like while at first seeing Gusto as a right centre-back in build-up, it looks quite attacking, but I think he's done all right in that role. He hasn't been exposed too much defensively, and obviously in the counter-press, he's got the most athleticism of our back line, so he can get in there, like hunt a man down, and if the ball gets put in behind him, he's got the recovery pace to get back. So I don't really mind it too much personally. I don't know what Couch thinks, but I feel like for me, him in the right centre back role, it just makes sense for how we're built now, because you haven't got a right winger that's gonna tuck inside and then give him that outside channel.
It's true. That's a good point. Especially when they're in attacking sequences, it's just my only worry is that when we get caught out, which hasn't happened a lot when he's been in that role. Like obviously we're playing teams that we're pretty much dominant on the ball for the most part. My worry is when we come up against like a bigger opposition and they recognize that flank as being a channel we can attack down. That's my only worry. But like in the games that we've seen him in so far, he's been good. There's no doubt about that.
No, 100, man. He needs to carry on. And, you know, big up, man like Josh Acheampong as well. We got the confirmation. We're definitely going to speak about that. Will says, don't speak on Josh Acheampong and Tyrique being inducted into the first team squad. So let's obviously get this up. So you can see, so Chelsea announced that Josh Acheampong has signed a new contract until 2029, Jams. And it says, congratulations on your new deal, Josh. And this is someone that obviously is highly rated from the academy. We saw him come on last season against Spurs. I know it wasn't for long, but he actually did well in the box, man. Like there was a couple crosses that were coming in. He's just dealing with them, you know. He can play as a right back. He can play as a right centre back. I'm hearing he can play as a left centre back. I'm hearing he can potentially play midfield as well. And there was many clubs, Jams, top clubs that were looking at him like Bayern Munich and that, bro. You know what I'm saying? And we know Chelsea, we're a factory of, you know, producing fullbacks. Yeah. Lewis Hall, Livramento, yeah. You've got Reece James, you've got fucking Lamptey, right? So many fullbacks. Now you got Acheampong as well. What did you think of this news, bro? First of all, man.
Yeah, I'm happy we got it done, man. Very happy we got it done because I'm not an academy guy, so I didn't know nothing about him before he played in the senior team. So yeah, when I saw that game against Astana, I could see what his quality is about, what he's good at. He looks composed on the ball. He can carry. He looks comfortable passing the ball. Obviously, he's a big guy as well, physical. So he looks like the perfect profile for Maresca's system. Now it's just about giving them opportunities to grow and all stuff like that. So yeah, I was happy.
Do you think that he's made that decision to sign now because we just can't keep Reece fit, bro? Because there's a few rumors that, you know, he was sort of hanging on. He was potentially might have left. And now it kind of seems like Chelsea have given him a clear pathway, Jams. Do you think that's one of the major reasons why he signed as well?
Yeah, I think that's big, yeah. the whole Reece James thing, because you look at it, if you're a young guy and, you know, you're at Chelsea, where it's a club where, you know, historically, you know, unless you're top, like a top prospect, you ain't really going to get that chance. And then he's seen, all right, cool, so my opportunity's there because Reece is with the injuries. And then I've only really got Gusto in the way right now. So I think that's a big part as to why he signed as well.
100% Goonie. And I'm glad, Goonie, that we got this done because Reece, like we know, is a wafer. Let's be real about it. Every time he comes back, I always tell these man, you're going to see 5 games max and he's going to be gone again.
Yeah,
right. I don't even know how many games we got from him when he last came back. And then Gusto's another one. He doesn't get injured for long, but he picks up a few injuries here and there as well. Yeah. And then now you're having to look at fucking
Disarty, bro.
Right back. It stinks, ads. You know what I mean? Goonie, how do you want to see Josh integrated into the first team going forward? Because we're going into the second half of the season, bro.
I mean, I think with what Maresca's doing in terms of kind of splitting the teams into, you know, the European competition and then obviously the Premier League is a good pathway for him to prove it. Because if we do keep that squad throughout the entire tournament, there's no reason why we can't win it, you know, even with that squad, respectfully. So I think that'll be great experience for him if he's able to win that. A couple of other players that are also trying to break into the first team, their first experience of a trophy, some success, that could be nothing but positive for them. So I think really it's about, you know, being clever, obviously depending on his ability and how the coach sees him. Maybe he might fast track him into the first team and we might see him more frequently than not. You never know with these things. You never know with youth players. The element of surprise is always there. But it's definitely positive that he has signed for Chelsea. I do see a few foundational things in his game that can definitely be, well, that are good and can definitely things can be built on top of that. And yeah, it's good for depth. It's good for depth. Maybe it's a case where, you know, Gusto gets injured, Reece James is not around. The coach might say, you know what, Premier League, Josh, get in there. You know what I mean? Prove yourself, and we might see an absolute phenomenal debut performance in the Premier League. Who never knows? That's the thing. Unknown element with these youth players, man.
100, man, 100. And ads, would you want to trust him in the FA Cup, bro? Or would you say Conference League for now?
Absolutely. Listen, I'm all about the profile. And if you're good enough, you're old enough. And his profile and how good he's been playing is better than what the Sarti's going to give us at right back. So absolutely, I would play him. And this isn't any old academy. This is one of the top elite academies in world football. And that's been proven over the last 10, 15 years. Again, I don't follow the academy as much these days because they broke my heart with the likes of Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Mustanders and whatnot. When you get so invested and then it doesn't end up going the right way in terms of the development or injuries or whatever. But again, when you don't have to watch many games of guys like him, guys like Raksaki, to realize, oh no, these guys are ballers and they could start for Premier League teams now. So absolutely, they're good enough to go and start for us in FA Cup games, go all the way to the final and win the Conference League. And maybe the odd Premier League game, if we do have an injury crisis, again, touch wood, that doesn't happen. But if that happens, these guys are good enough to step in and help us out.
100%, man. And this is a direct quote here from Maresca as well. Big him up every single time. So Maresca says here, I am very, very happy with Josh. It has been quite clear. We had him in pre-season. I didn't know him personally, but within 2 or 3 days, he really impressed me. Couch, what's the biggest thing that he's kind of, you know, when you've been watching him, what is it that's impressed you about him so far, bro? Just from the few bits that you've seen of him.
Looks techie. Looks real techie. Comfortable on the ball. Not composed. Looks like he can, you know, drive the lanes, get in the final third. But again, like what I've seen from him has been very limited. And to be honest with you, I don't know what you guys think, but like since Chelsea TV has been gone, it's been hard to really track like these youth players, man. Like I remember there used to be finding guys watch Chelsea TV and see guys weekly, and you'd get more familiar with their game. And now when I just don't know these guys as well. I don't know their game as well. So the limited times that I've seen Acheampong play, he's been good, but I haven't seen enough to know exactly what he's about. You know, like he's looked good on the ball. I'll say that. You know, looks composed in possession and comfortable playing a high line, which is also very good. But I mean, there's not really much to go on at this point in time.
No, 100, man. Yeah, but let's hope that we see more of him. Obviously, we've got Morecambe in the FA Cup. I won't be surprised if he starts that game. And yeah, like I said, listen, Disasi, if we can get rid of him in January, bro, I pray it happens, isn't it? Because for me, that guy is just not good enough for Chelsea going forward, man. But Jams, what do you think we need in January, bro? Do you think we need any defensive signings, would you say, to bring anyone in January, bro?
I mean, I guess it's kind of like, what's our situation going into January? If we're actually like seriously in the title race, if it's realistic that we have a chance of winning it, that's the only reason we'll probably like need to go and get a centre back. Other than that, I don't think we really need anything defensively, like just for this season, innit? Personally.
I mean, that Benfica centre back Gooney, I was telling you the other day, bro. He signed a new contract now, so he's gone. How about you, Gooney? Do you think that we need to bring someone in defensively at the back in January?
Yeah, potentially, I'd say so.
But what side, bro? What side, and would they start even in this team as well? That's the question, bro.
I'm hearing a lot of Chelsea fans, and they're saying Zabani is a centre back that they like.
Zabani, who's that again?
Bournemouth centre back.
Bournemouth centre back.
Yeah.
I saw a few whispers the other day as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And I don't think he's a bad centre back, but for me going forward long term, I know it's a very risky statement to say this, but I personally have always liked Wesley Fofana, and this time him coming back from this injury this time round, I wanted to see whether he was still gonna get in and around the level he was before he received that injury, and if he had the mentality to do so. And I've said this to you before, I personally feel that he was on his way to get in there before this injury. Hopefully he's not out for too long, but that would be my preferred centre back going forward. I still have a lot of faith in the guy. I just hope he can stay injury free. So it's a tough one, but I think another centre back would benefit us, because even going back to the right back conversation, as a centre back, I'd prefer to have a different option than Disasi if we have to call upon one, you know. So yeah, I mean, you guys know how I feel. Well, if you don't, I don't think Disasi is good enough to be at Chelsea, to put it lightly. You know what I mean? I wouldn't mind seeing him go. So that's my opinion. So yeah, so from that standpoint, cool.
No, I hear it, man. And listen, this is the thing that I've been speaking about as well, ads. So Ramadan, big up Ramadan. It says Fofana and Badi.
Sorry, real quick, guys. I've got to run, man. Appreciate you. It's good streaming with you guys. Big up everybody in the chat as well. Love and respect. Up the Chels. Up the
fucking Chels. Big up Goonie, man. Big up Goonie every time, bruv. But Ramadan, he says here, Fofana and Badi Shaw is back in Jan even. Tosin is good enough to start. You man need to consider the squad building. It's not feasible to bring in a centre back just for depth, even if we sell Disasi. What do you think of that comment there, bro? Do you agree?
I think I actually completely agree, and I don't think that's a take that a lot of Chelsea fans would have, or the majority of Chelsea fans would have. I think we've kind of grown up on the Abramovich era, where if we need something, we just buy it no matter what. Whereas right now, we clearly have a structure in place, not just in terms of the wage, but in terms of the players that we actually have at the club. So I think 4 centre backs for the rest of the season should be enough. Again, right now we have 5 with Disasi. Even if we let him go, we should be okay. And then we still have people like Vega who can do a job there if needs be, if we were to have a crisis. So I think that's all right for the season, to be honest. And in terms of if we need to like go and get anybody in Jan, we don't need to buy anyone for sure. I feel we have a good enough squad. And in terms of actually bolstering numbers, all I would do is just bring back Leslie. Like, he's doing nothing at Southampton. He's comfortably their best midfielder, but they don't want to play him. It's a weird situation similar to Santos at Forest last season. So for me, bring him back, give us the midfield depth, because if there's anywhere where I'm concerned in terms of numbers, it's midfield. Because again, we're one Caicedo injury away from being in quite a bit of trouble.
You mean the 6? I wouldn't say midfield. I'd probably say that 6th position, because we've got a lot of
the 6, the double pivot, because we normally play 2 in there, and really it's Caicedo, and then right now it's Enzo. Sometimes we can play Enzo, Caicedo, and Lavio if we have Caicedo inverting. But then if all 3 are starting, what's the depth off the bench? It's Dewsbury Hall or Cassidy, and none of them are really natural sitters for me. Whereas Leslie, he can come in, he gives us the physical profile, which is important, and he can get game time here, which he's not getting at Southampton. So for me, it's a no-brainer. You bring back Leslie, and other than that, we're good for numbers. Okay, Mudrik's gone, which is not an ideal situation at all, but Tyrique stepping up, and even till now, we haven't really needed Mudrik like that anyway. So for me, just Leslie, and we're fine.
Facts. Just before we go into Tyrique as well, because I want to speak about him as well, right? Couch, you know, what do you think about what Ads just said there about bringing Leslie back? Because obviously, I know you're a massive fan of his. You know, in pre-season he looks very good. He looks sharp. He looks like he
great preseason.
kind of dropped a little bit of weight as well, but he was looking very nippy, bro. You know what I mean? What do you reckon? Do you think
it's a tough one, right? It's a tough one. I think Ads hit it right on the head. He won't get the minutes that we expected him to get at Southampton. He should be playing there. Like, honestly, every time I've seen him play there, he's been good. But he won't get that sort of time. But it's better to have him working within a system that we're trying to build him towards, anyways, rather than have him out on loan, like sitting on the bench, you know, not getting any minutes, not really growing as a footballer, right? So I would agree with the sentiment to bring him back, even just to be in the camp, being around the guys, figuring out, like, soaking it up and whatnot. But yeah, like, ultimately, I'm pretty much in full agreement with what Ad was saying. Like, I don't know if we need to bring in anything else. If anything, I would say that the best thing to do is, you know, get guys out, you know, because regardless of what Maresca has been saying, I've been only working with 25 guys. We have a big camp of players, you know, like there's guys that are just not seeing anything. I'm talking about the likes of Chilwell. I mean, Chukwuemeka is getting minutes here and there, you know. I still don't understand the KDH signing, you know, like, what's the role there? Why is he here? You know, like, there's also a whole glut of players that I don't understand why we have them in the squad, and we need to move them out. Like, I'm comfortable with keeping Disasi as the fifth choice center back, but if that's now going to block somebody from like Acheampong from getting minutes, then, you know, maybe it'd be better to just move him on as well. But again, as we say that, he's still one of our more experienced players. You know, he's been captaining as well, you know? In the conference league. He's been captain. Yeah. So with that said, it's still hard to say, you know, do I want to see him go? So yeah, there's certain. I just think that before we think about buying, we have to think about, like, selling, getting guys out of the club before we think about buying again. So it's just where I stand.
Yeah, no, I hear it, man. You make some fair enough points. And another player that's been promoted now, he's got his own locker room. Jams is Tyrique George. What have you thought about, you know, the few performances you've seen of his in the Conference League, bro? Because I'll be real, like, I like him. I can see a lot of potential, but I haven't been overly impressed. I'll be so honest, bro. I haven't been overly impressed with his performances so far, man. I can't lie.
Yeah, from what I've seen from him, it's not like anything bad, but it's nothing like that's been a standout. You get what I'm saying? It's not like Callum Hudson-Odoi when he first came on the scene in the Europa League, he was shelling it. With Tyrique George, it's just been, for me, just been steady, isn't it? It's just one of them ones where, all right, cool, you can play, you can come in the team and you look like you're at least to the level, but you haven't really been a standout like that. So, yeah, with George now, with him, he's got to take the opportunity with Mudryk being out. That's what he's got to do. He's got his decision making's got to improve, his shooting as well. Like, when he shoots, there's no vim in his shots whatsoever. It's just like he's just shooting just to shoot. Like, he needs to shoot.
And it's weird. It's weird because he's got a bang on him, bro. It's weird because he's got a bang on him. But yeah, like you're saying, some of his shots are a little bit off.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things. That the shooting not good enough. He's not testing the keeper. They're always like too tame. He just seems like an okay player based on what I've seen so far. So yeah, he's not a player that I'll just give up on like straight away. But yeah, I do need to see more from him.
No, 100, but we have to remember, listen, we have to be fair in it. He's only 18. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to get Yamals all the time, Ads. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to get Estavals all the time, right? He's still young, bro. He's not small, but he's still growing physically. He needs to learn, to get experience. He's never been loaned before as well. You know what I'm saying? But like what Jams is saying, bro, he needs to step up now because Mudryk, whether people like it or not, he's been playing well in the Conference League. We've been talking about two teams, and he's been front line in that first team, bro, helping us, and off the bench as well. He's actually made an impact in a few games in the Prem. You know what I'm saying? He's a different profile that we can actually bring off the bench. Because for me, off the bench, if you, for example, let's say you start Neto and Sancho in the game, yeah, you've only really got Madueke that can come on the right, and you probably maybe have to move Neto to the left. But then with Neto's fitness, ideally you want two profiles on the bench that are quite direct. Otherwise, you've only got Felix, you've got Nkuku, these sort of guys. So Tyrique, bro, I can't lie, man. He needs to step up because he's basically got Mudryk's position now.
100%, and it's an opportunity. And in football, you got to take your opportunities. And listen, from what I've seen of him in even pre-season and the Conference League games, I feel like he looks good. He looks aesthetically well. Like the touches are there, the technical ability is there. But in terms of what he's actually produced, performance-wise, it's not been great. Now, I'm not trying to judge him too harshly because before now, he wasn't a first team player. So he's just a young player coming in. And I feel like, okay, there's potential there, but he hasn't really taken the opportunity with two hands. And I think, again, the Chelsea comparisons are obviously made because, again, he's a young black kid, Ghanaian. So cool. They're going to compare him naturally in it. But I just feel for me, especially compared to like a Hudson-Odoi, why he excelled coming into the team was because his game was more about facilitating others. He wasn't like a selfish player. He came in, he would like to show his ability, he would take on players with, and he's more of like a pass-first player. Whereas with Tyrique, so far, he looks like more of like a shoot-first kind of player, or do something to impress kind of first player, which doesn't really help. Because he might, I don't think technically he's better than Hudson-Odoi. But let's say even if he was, coming into this team right now, you need to be showing that you can help get the ball and then facilitate an Nkunku, facilitate a Felix, facilitate these guys. Not just you're going to come in and then try and be the main guy and then do your own thing, because you're not Yamal, you're not these kind of players in it. So again, he's going to get more opportunities now, and he's got a role to fill in because, Mikhailo, Melodoni and Mudryk was actually doing all right in the Conference League. He was, some of his shots were having some vim on it, and maybe we know why now, but he was actually doing all right, to be fair. So it is a little bit unfortunate for him. Again, we've had some back and forth about him as well. But listen, there's a spot there to be taken, and let's see how he does. Now he knows that there's actually, there's a pathway. Before it was just you were getting games here and there, sub benches, but now there's a pathway. You're gonna get certified starts. So let's see what you do with it.
100%, bro. And Couch, for me, listen, with certain things, like yes, he's still quite young, but it's very hard to change a man's playing style, bro. Right? I think for me, Tyrique's always going to be a shoot first before facilitated, right? But he definitely needs to mix up his game, because there's so many times I'm seeing him getting in the box and I'm like, brother, the guy's free, bro. Play it to him. And he's trying to find an angle for himself to shoot. And like what Jams is saying, the shot is just going straight at the keeper, or is getting blocked or something. You know what I mean? What do you think he needs to do in his game, bro, to keep improving, man?
I mean, the game's just got to slow down for him, right? The game's just got to slow down for him. I think that he's got the talent. It's just he's snatching at chances right now because he feels the pressure, right? He's coming into the games, he's getting opportunities. One of the few, youth players that are getting opportunities in the side, and he feels like he has something to prove, right? So I just feel like he's snatching at chances right now. He's not really letting the game come to him. He's like forcing the game, and all of that just produces, poor results. It was the same. It wasn't too different when we saw Noni at times last year, where Noni was snatching at opportunities, just taking bad decisions and not doing things the right way. So I just think that young players need opportunities, but those opportunities, you have to take it, right? You have to take those opportunities too. And right now he's still not coming to grips with the pace of the game, because I feel like he's just one step ahead of it. He's trying to move. He's in his head, he's thinking one step ahead rather than just letting the game come to him naturally, if you know what I mean. So yeah,
he's trying a little bit too hard. Like, as funny as that sounds, you think he's trying a little bit too hard.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
No, fairs, man. And Jams, what do you want to see later on as well, bro? Because I know you're gonna go to the bridge. You know what I'm saying? For me, bro, I'm not gonna be there. I'm sorry, people. It's hard, man. I can't lie. Like, when I'm watching these Conference League games, I'm gonna be so honest, bro. When we score, I'm happy, of course. I'm just like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Right? Because I never ever expected my club to be in a competition that fucking West Ham were parading about, bro. You know what I'm saying? Right? We're too big for this competition. I'm sorry, bro. Whether you want to call me bougie and all these things, these are the standards that we hold at Chelsea, bro. Right? And it's hard for me to be really, really, gassing these performances, because it's Conference League at the end of the day. But in terms of the setup later, bro, what do you want to see from the team? Like, who do you want to start in terms of the youth team players and whatnot?
Yeah, I want to see more Raksaki. I liked him against Astana, man. I liked him. He looks a bit like that Lavia kind of mold of midfielder. So I want to see more of him. Obviously, Josh, I want to see him. Tyrique George, he's probably going to start as well. I want to see Mahuka come off the bench as well, because I can't lie, that turn that he did was warm. I'm not going to lie. The way he turned and then the strength as well to hold off the defender, that was warm. So, yeah, I want to see a bit more of him. I'm hearing about some centre-back. What's his name? Campbell Murray or something like that. I don't know nothing about it. But the academy guys on Twitter, they're talking about him. So I don't know if he comes off the bench or something. I want to see what he's saying as well. But yeah, I just want to see that.
Big up Marlo. He says, remember the name, Ish Samuels Smith, next up to come through the ranks, top left centre back, left back. Do you know about him, Jams?
I've heard of him, but I don't know like nothing about him as a footballer still.
Yeah, man, I can't lie. Like, listen, for me, I used to be so like what Couch is saying with Chelsea TV. When I used to watch the academy religiously with like Jeremy Bogar, Lewis Baker, you had John Swift, obviously Charlie Colkett, Loftus Cheek, Ola, you know what I'm saying, Casey Palmer. That's when I was actually really, really in there.
Same.
And then like with Cho, you know, you had your Tammy Abrahams, your Solankis, all of them, man, right? But recently I've kind of gone off of it. I can't lie. It's hard to watch these games at times. So it's people, if you know about these, if you're watching academy football, let me know in it. Let me know who's popping off right now.
An academy guy. No.
Never, bro. I love it. I can't lie, bro. Back in the day, I remember I used to wake up early. I used to wake up early to watch even Liverpool teams. I used to watch the United games. I used to watch Andres Pereira when he was at United. Liverpool. I remember they had a guy called Adam Morgan. Do you remember that one, Ads? Adam Morgan.
Yeah.
Adam Morgan, striker, deadly, bro. Yeah, Jordan Ibe. I remember, bro. Back in the day. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, recently I've kind of gone off of it. I can't lie.
It's hard, man. When you like, listen, Cobham, it just seems like we just spawn a lot of our top players. They spawn them with this fucking injury like trait, bro. Like Ruben Loftus Cheek, Hudson Odoi, Musonda, bro. Like some of the ballers that we produce, but then they just get injury early in their development, and most time they're cooked. So it's unfortunate, man. That's why for me it's hard to continue investing time into that when more time they don't even get into the team.
Exactly, that's the annoying thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I do need to watch them a little bit more, man. But what do you want to see later as well, Ads, man? What's the main thing that you want to take from the game later? Because we should be winning that against the Shamrock, innit? Play Shamrock.
Yeah, Shamrock Rovers. Yeah, no, more time. I'm just trying to see 3 points and a good time in it. I will try. I got an engagement to do later, but I will try and catch most of the game. But I'm just trying to see 3 points, more youngsters involved, more good football again. Right, Saki, he looks serious. Yep. And I think if Tyrique George is going to start, then obviously it's a bit of a showcase for him in the sense that now you know Mudryk is iced for a little bit, so you got to go and do something. So I'll definitely want to keep up with how he does. And to be fair, Shamrock Rovers are unbeaten. I think them and Heidenheim have probably been the 2 toughest teams we were scheduled to play. And Heidenheim gave us a pretty decent game. I think Shamrock should do similar, but I do expect of us to dispatch of them. And I guess for me, again, the Conference League has been a bit of a blessing in disguise. I did not want to be here. I was mad when United dumped us into this competition, but looking back at it now, while we could have done something similar in the Europa League, I think this has been a better boost for confidence for the whole team. Stat padding goals, building confidence, being able to try things tactically as well. Because Maresca's experimented quite a bit in the Conference League, which has been good. But for me, I think going into the knockout stages, I think the main thing is just, again, like you said, Don, this isn't the biggest game for us. For me, when we score, I'm happy, it's cool, whatever. And if you see even the players they score that they're cool. They're not celebrating. They're not doing knee slides and that. Meanwhile, I remember one time Heidenheim got a throw on against us, and man started celebrating, bro. Man was like doing the older guard to the fans, like doing all that, and it's like this is what we got to play against. And obviously, it'll be the same in the knockout stages and even to the final. So one thing I want to see from these players is just the mentality. Like, even though it's not that big for us, we still got to go and win. Because if we don't win this tournament, it's embarrassing. Let's be honest. So we got to go and win it. Win the trophy. At the end of the day, we win it. We do a couple high fives. You lift the trophy. We keep it moving. That's what I want to see us do and be professional about it.
100, bro. And Couch, you know, add anything to that as well, bro?
Yeah, the only thing that I'm worried about, and I suppose we're talking about in the chat with ads, I don't like the idea. We're down 2 center backs right now. I don't like the idea of Tosin playing at this game. Like, just give it to the youth at this point. Like, Tosin should be preparing for Everton at the weekend at this point. And it's not because I just don't think that the Shamrock game has any real value. Like, we're already through to the next stage. You know what I mean? So what's the next objective? It's like the weekend for me. You know, I'm thinking about Everton right now, right? And if anything happens in that game, it's not about him like being fatigued or not being up to, because I'm sure he's not going to really exert a lot of energy, but anything could happen. He can get injured, and then we're down to one center back in Disasi. You know what I mean? So I would rather get the kids playing rather than using anyone that's supposed to be deemed our first team at this point, right? So, I'm hoping that Maresca makes the right choice. So I know that who was it? Tosin did the interview, which probably means he's going to start. But I would just rather give the kids the minutes and just keep it moving from there.
Yeah, no, I know about Dujan Richards, bro, because he was massive. He's big in Jamaica. I know about him. He's got a bang on him as well. Yeah, man, he looks good, right. But I don't know. He's even playing right now. Is he injured? I haven't really seen any clips of him in the academy. Washington, what's happened to Washington as well, bro? We took man from Santos. Man was playing first team. And now it's like it's just there.
Oh, wait,
I
didn't
thought
we
he was
tell
going
him?
to be in the squad last week for the last game because he looked like he was training with them, but I guess he didn't get in.
I would never given him
Yeah,
a
Spain
chance.
is injured.
So
They're saying Dujan's injured at the minute. Yeah, he's injured.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
injured.
no.
But yeah, I think Loud spot on. He says, don't think Tosin will play. He only did the press up because Maresca trusts him to deal with media questions amidst the Mudryk situation. That's a good point. You know, I told you a lot from early doors that this guy's a leader. He used to be, again, going back to academy days, I used to watch this guy playing for City. He was their captain, bro. You know what I'm saying? So he's definitely one of the older heads. He's an uncle. When you watch this guy, he's an uncle, bro. Even the way he talks, just a man. You know what I'm trying to say? But just before we finish up, people, Jams, how you feeling about the Everton game, man? Are you feeling confident, first of all?
I wouldn't say confident, but I wouldn't say I'm nervous or anything like that. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think we win it, man. I'm not going to lie. Also, as well, our record at Goodison in recent years is kind of peak, innit?
Yeah, it is. It is. And I'm going to do a preview tomorrow, people. Look up for that one. I still need to watch more of their games back, to be fair, ads. But how you feeling about that one, man? Because we're going Everton away, bro.
Bro, you know the mad thing? Like, I'm actually super confident. And it actually kind of worries me. It's like, why am I just so confident? But then when I break the game down from every aspect, I'm like, even if they give us a good game, even if they try to play aggressive or play a low block, I think we're just our momentum right now. I just see us winning, to be honest. I just see us winning. I think we're playing really good football right now. Yes, the Cucurella suspension is a blow, but I think with Lavia being back, I think it's actually a straight stop. I think Lavia comes in and we just rejig the formation a little bit to suit him. Because for me, I would keep the back three how it was, which was obviously Gusto, Tosin in the middle, and Levi. Because as much as Levi's had a great season as the middle CB, he has shown that he can do a job out wide. Again, we don't want him playing left back necessarily, but he's shown that he can do a job as a wide centre back. And right now, he's the only one that we really have because Badiashile would maybe do it before, but again, he got injured. And for me, he was poor against Tottenham, very, very poor against Tottenham. Obviously, Fofana's probably our best wide centre back to do the role, but again, he's out injured. The Sarsi, we're not really trying to see it. And Tosin, every time he's played for us, it's been as a middle CB, and I don't really think we want to be seeing a 6'5" guy like him having to defend the channel. So he should really be in the middle as the experienced guy, the leader, good ball playing ability as well. So I like him being there, Gusto at right back, obviously right back, and then tucking into right centre back. And it might sound mad, but for me, I would start Caicedo left back. I would start him left back and have him invert into midfield. And it would
Left
keep
back?
the same,
Why
pretty
not
much the
right
same shape.
Why not right back?
Because for me, Gusto will be right back. Again, Cucurella suspended, so I will still have Gusto right back, who then moves into right centre back. And I would have Caicedo start left back and then invert into midfield and be in the pivot with Lavia. And obviously then have Enzo starting up higher like he has been next to Palmer. That's what I would.
And then Colwill left centre back and then Tosin in the middle and then Gusto right centre back. Right?
You don't trust Gusto. You don't trust Gusto going into the. Well, we already talked about this. So,
I mean, I don't mind him, but then he would be doing like the sort of inverted thing, moving into the 10, and I feel like he's found a good rhythm in right centre back. So I don't really want to move him into a role I didn't like him doing from right back, let alone from left back doing it. So if he was doing like a left back role where he was holding the width, I wouldn't mind it. But for how we're trying to play, I think it makes more sense just having Caicedo do it, because let's say we do what you're saying, and have Gusto left back. Then it kind of messes up. Then Tosin would have to play wide centre back, and I just don't want to see that. Yeah. So
no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
How about Vega? Coach? What would you do with Vega? Would you start him in this game, bro?
I don't know, man. It's a tough ask to come into the Premier League. Hasn't played a lot. I think we need to be playing.
Premier League game. He started that Premier League game.
No, I know. I remember he played in the middle.
Played in midfield.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not where we need him, though, right?
Wasn't that Bournemouth?
That was against Bournemouth, yeah. For me, I've said already, bro. Like, I don't like him starting in midfield, but inverting into midfield, I don't mind it at all, bro.
Yeah. So then you wouldn't play Lavia in this game?
So it would be I'd play Vega potentially at left back, right? Again, I need to watch Everton games back to see what they're like at home. I don't know how positive they are in terms of attacking, so I can't really comment much. We'll speak about that tomorrow in the preview. But if we do start Vega, then I would start probably Gusto at right back, bro, or maybe even Caicedo inverting at right back, so you can still start Lavia.
Okay, yeah, I see you. Yeah, that could work.
So that way, then it means Tosin's wide. If you do that, Tosin is going to be in the wide areas.
Yeah,
but I'm not trying to see Tosin wide, bro.
We haven't really seen him in that role per se, so it's hard for me to say. Yeah, I can co-sign on that, but It just seems like it's needs must right now. Like the team is playing well. We have about 5 or 6 guys that are playing at a top level right now. And, I don't want to see that change too much. I want to keep the same sort of like energy that we've been using the last 6-7 games. So, if that means bringing in Vega in a more reserved role as formulating the back three, then, and it keeps everyone in their rightful positions, playing the way they have been in the, in the build-up, then by all means make that happen. But overall, I don't know exactly, like you, I don't know exactly what to make of this Everton team. I know they've been struggling the early parts of the season, but they found some good, some good results recently. So, it's something that I'm gonna have to sit back and watch before I make an assessment as to what we need to do.
Now, facts, and people, make sure, like I said, you watch out for the preview that'll be out tomorrow. But good stream, man. Good numbers. Still got 346 people in the house. Like I said, make sure that you lot are subscribing to the channel. Make sure that you're liking the vid. But Jams, as always, my bro, let them know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, just Jams Talks Ball on YouTube. You get what I'm saying? You lot, make sure you sub up to the channel. Yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Big up the channel.
In the description as well, people. Ads, let them know where they can find you, bro.
Yeah, the Twitter handle's at _100. And that's pretty much it right now. But I'm trying to get more involved in these streams. Again, big up for having me, bro. It's been a great stream. So yeah, up the Chelsea.
Now you're gonna see ads on here more often, people. Like I said, Thursday, sometimes even Blue Diaries on Tuesdays as well. Couch, let them know where they can find you, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again, Don. It's Couch Criticus on YouTube. Make sure that you guys are subscribing to all the pages here, like Jams, obviously Don's, and if you can, hit up Couch Critic as well on YouTube. But we keep it moving.
Big up, man. Big up, man. And people, listen, it needs to be business as usual later, yeah? The game match review will be out as always, people. Up the fucking Chels, man. We move. Love.